This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever. You said to me that you think this is obvious, because yesterday I was like, oh, have you got any theories? You said, well, I don't know if it's a theory or if it's just really obvious, and I had not spotted it at all. I think this is right.
There's a moment when one of these vampires comes to her, and then she starts to move as well, like advancing the movements of this vampire. She kills the vampire, and then Ren asks to her, what was that? And then when she's about to say something, they get interrupted by Fisher. So, I think...
So, Fisher is convinced that his father is dead. He says his bones rest in Silvaren. Is that actually confirmation that Fisher's dad is dead? And we're just all barking up the wrong tree with the fact that we think he's still alive? Because would Solus allow... Caladeus also knows Lloreth. I wonder how. They must have met before.
I would like to think that maybe that time when Lloreth was attacked by vampires, maybe Caladeus was with him. Maybe Caladeus was the vampire that he was just learning how to control the thirds, and then he attacked.
Maybe.
Because he said vampire, he doesn't say feeder, so...
Could that be why Kingfisher wanted to save his life?
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
The husband and wife podcast talking all things Quicksilver.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we'll carry on with our deep dive of Quicksilver with chapters 29 to 32. And just heads up, we might use strong language and explore adult themes.
This episode will contain spoilers from Quicksilver, the Kingfisher POV chapters on Callie Hart's website, and snippets of information we've had from Callie Hart herself.
And before we start, quick reminder, if you want early access to our episodes, bonus content every month, and no annoying ads like this one, you can get all of this by becoming a supporter. You can try for free now and cancel anytime. For the best deal, visit faithfullyfantasy.com or simply subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for instant access. Don't miss out and become part of our community.
Also, if you're enjoying the show, please take a second to rate us wherever you're listening to your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all of it. It helps more fantasy lovers find us, and it's one of the easiest ways to support what we do. A quick tap and you've made our day.
And before we dive into this week's discussion, it's time for a comment from the human realm. Our new segment where we pull a comment or question from YouTube and Spotify and share it with everyone. Today's turn is for Kelly Lindell 3953. And this is a comment from our deep dive of Quicksilver chapters 23 to 25, where we asking in one of our games that what will be the worst tattoo to get after one night stand. She said the worst tattoo will be the image of the face of your one night stand on your cheek.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah. Or imagine like the name or something like this. That would be terrible.
A name would be better than a face.
Yeah, like a portrait of that person. So you never forget that night.
Can you imagine? Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree. That would be terrible. Okay, and now, without further ado, let's enter the map tent.
So this week, Ceres decides sleep is for peasants and pulls an all-nighter forging a sword. Meanwhile, Carrion and Lloreth are in the background arguing like drunk uncles at Christmas over a knife-throwing bet. Spoiler alert, Carrion loses, and badly. Ceres finally finishes the sword, and it's so sharp, Lloreth manages to immediately cut himself, because of course he does. This guy's like, congrats, you forged a blade, here's an aurora. Haven't done one in 1,000 years, but sure, it seems like the perfect time. Lloreth sings to the sword, and the sword loves it, which is a massive slap in the face for Danya, considering Ceres just spent the whole night midwifing the shiny Angel of Death stick for her. Awkward. Then Fisher gives Ceres a bath. Yes, a bath. Nothing screams romance like, hey babe, sure you can sleep in my bed, but you really need a shower. They sleep, and Ceres tries to coax the Quicksilver, out of Fisher's body to no avail before our favourite Fey warrior general bursts in through the tense sound shields, declaring the vamps are on the attack. Fisher and Ren go WWE on them, but these aren't your regular vampires. These guys drown in a freezing river and still come crawling back. Cerys finally picks up the sword and instantly fights like she's been doing it her whole life. Meanwhile, Lloreth becomes hero of the day with his shiny new godsword, and just when you think we're done, Evelyn pops up across the river, chained like she's the prize in some vampire raffle, and our blonde-haired villain, who is not actually a villain, basically says, "Hand me the alchemist, or your sister gets a one-way ticket to eternal suffering."
Wow. So today we have 4 chapters. They're short, but pack a lot of stuff. So we have some theories about this as well. And of course, we're going to talk about this in our fine print.
The part of the show where we scour the pages for clues of what's to come.
And we start with chapter 29, Ballad of the Agent Gate.
So, the chapter title, notable meanings here. The ballad is obviously the name. The Ballad of the Agent Gate is the name of the song that everyone but Cerys forgets. And we get a retelling of, what's his name? We get a retelling of Fisher's epic battle with Omnam Chakrai.
Yes.
Which is actually a feature of the POV chapters on Callie Hart's website. We are actually going to do a deep dive of those when we finished our full deep dive of Quicksilver.
Yes.
But yeah, it feels like a really nice bit of world building in this chapter that we get through Lloreth's song.
It's not just the world building. We saw some like connections between Fisher and the Quicksilver. We start to see like how deep the connection is. So a really nice chapter when we get like more information to start to build a little bit more what's going on in the background.
Yeah, definitely. So Carrion and Lloreth are bickering. Carrion is making dinner for Lloreth because he was foolish enough to enter a bet. Here he's getting a little bit of a taste of his own medicine, isn't he? In that he's been doing this to Hayden his whole life, and now he's on the receiving end of it.
And obviously he doesn't like it.
Yeah, so he made a bet they made a bet that whoever got the most dagger, hit the tree the most consecutively, would not have to make the dinner. And obviously Lloreth is still doing it. So I wondered, if you were going to make a bet like that, what activity would you do? Like, what would you back yourself to really win?
I think it has to be something with luck and not skills, because obviously with Lloreth, there's no chance that you can like win any kind of competition, like who is the faster, who is the strongest, who can hold something more or whatever. Has to be something like, I don't know, flip the coin and see who is the one who gets more tails or heads, or something that is not going to be involving skills.
I agree with you. Or something that, I mean, Carrion's not a human, but I don't know, you'd have to think of something that only humans would have, like who could be the slowest? Although I think a Fae could do that as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Something that for me was funny here in this interaction between Lloreth, Cerys, and Carrion as well, is when obviously Carrion is like really pissed off how good is Lloreth in doing this again. That he was the one who proposed it to trying to win, and he's losing battle here. But when Cerys is like trying not to laugh at him, and then Carrion call her again like Sunshine, I find that funny because Fisher made like really clear to him that you shouldn't call her Sunshine, you shouldn't call her like this, and he's still doing it. So obviously, it's not because maybe Fisher is not there, so he's just taking advantage, or just because he really doesn't care what Fisher has to say. But at the same time, I was thinking it's maybe something that Carrion knows about Cerys, and there's maybe like a reason, a double meaning about Sunshine.
Yeah, like a light. Yeah.
Yes, because she's not famous and Salvarian, like a radio Sunshine, somebody that's like really happy or really like this. So I'm just wondering if maybe there's a second meaning, and Carrion is carrying as well, like more secrets here.
Yeah, I agree with you. It jumped out to me as well because Fisher has already told him not to call her Sunshine. Like, Carrion doesn't care what Kingfisher tells him or says to him, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Ceres and Kingfisher can communicate now, mind to mind.
Mm-hmm.
We get a bit of a solidifying of that in this chapter when he speaks to her from outside and he's not coming in yet. He's watching the aurora. We don't know that at the time, but he's able to communicate directly to her mind. I wonder if they have to be close by for this to happen. It feels like they do because it starts when he's just outside the forge. But I wonder if there's going to be any time. Well, we know from Callie Hart's Instagram that there's going to be some time where Kingfisher and Carrion are away from Ceres.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if they'll be able to communicate and over how big a different distance would they be able to communicate.
Yes, that would be really interesting if there's a limitation about all of this. It would be good if they can communicate from any part, and maybe that's going to be key in a specific moment. Maybe she's going to be captured, or maybe it's Fisher, the one is lost, and then she has to find him and is using this connection.
Yeah, they can use the thread that she can start to feel.
GPS, something like this.
So she's making the sword, and there is a carving that she said she spent the last hour engraving the sword with "By righteous hands, deliverance of the unrighteous dead." And I love this because it is a major foreshadowing for what happens at the end of the book. So deliverance of the unrighteous dead kind of means like freeing the souls of the damned.
Yeah.
So perhaps from like a torment or an undeath, like they're not able to die, or spiritual, like being spiritually trapped somewhere.
Yeah.
And Lloreth is one of the three who follow Fisher to Gilethrai. Ren doesn't make it through the Shadow Gate in time at the end. It's Lloreth, Ceres, and Carrion that make it there. And Lloreth obviously is carrying his sword, and it's like just a prophecy of the sword to deliver the unrighteous death.
Yeah.
Deliverance of the unrighteous dead, that he's going to set them free ultimately, those that are trapped in Anarath Moor.
Yes, they're not coming back. They're just going to be free.
Yeah, and it shows that by his hands, he's the righteous one, and he's delivering deliverance of the unrighteous dead at the end. I just love it.
Yes, the only strange thing here is that when she was doing this, she was thinking about Danya, but I don't see like Danya in this kind of...
Well, there you go. It just shows that the sword was never for Danya. Oh, she's such a bitch. I know that we're supposed to hate her, but Callie Hart has written Danya so well.
Yeah.
Like, she's
character,
the worst.
yes. But I think from the beginning, it was pretty clear. And not just like as what we saw here, what happened with Lloreth. But when she was making the sword, and then when it's already done, it was Lloreth, the first one to like having a look.
Yeah.
And he was touching the blade just a little bit. And I found it like really strange that this guy, that he's a warrior, he's an expert in blades, how easy he cut himself with this. And for me, it's not like it's because it was so sharp that he wasn't careful enough. I think it's just because the Quicksilver knew that was his honor, or which was chosen.
Well, it asked for a song, like it was always going to be his. But I agree with you. I feel like, because we know that Ren can touch the blades of swords. This is not normal for a Fae to be so injured by touching a sword. Because when Ren is teaching Ceres and Carrion with the swords, he takes the blade and hands her the handle. Yeah. So it's like he could touch it. It's not normal. You wouldn't expect, as a Fae, you wouldn't expect to be injured in that way with the sword. You've got to be like driving it in or something for it to be really sharp and dangerous. So I don't think that Lloreth would have expected to have cut himself.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a mark of the Quicksilver, or maybe it's just a mark of the craftsmanship, because Ceres is exceptionally good at making swords. So it's just really sharp.
Yes, I mean everything is built in this way. The sword was so good. It was so sharp. The even Lloreth say, "Oh, this thing cost even just we looking at it."
Yeah.
So it was that good, that sharp. But it seems they, at least from my point of view, that it was just the Quicksilver knew that he was the right one and was
maybe.
taking the blood straight away.
So while she's making the sword, there is an aurora outside, which is what Kingfisher is watching, and it's keeping him outside. It's the first aurora in well over 1,000 years. So they're not very frequent, but you could say that most Fae see one in their lifetime, maybe.
Yeah.
Or they were maybe perhaps far more frequent before, but now the gods have left. They went on the pilgrimage.
There's something
Yeah,
strange
there
now.
aren't any.
Yeah.
So it seems like it is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Fisher calls it, which would suggest that it's a blessing from the gods. Which god? It would seem to me that it would be Lloreth, because he has chosen Ceres as, or Kingfisher is Ceres is Zareth's champion, isn't he? But you know, there's a link to Ceres. Any other ideas of what the aurora is?
Has to be a god that's related to, I don't know if it's gonna be war or if it's gonna be just magic or gift for the humans, because there's some like legends or some other stories about gods. They just want to give something to the humans, want the humans to be more than they have, and giving like some gifts like fire, for example. So I wonder if maybe from all these gods that were introducing at the beginning, the Everlane was talking about all of them, if there's still one that we haven't seen yet, but it's like the one that who's in charge to maybe create this sword or given the powers the
So it
face
feels
of
like
human can have.
any god can do that. So Nimrel, for example, the Balan Mythin, the twins gave that to Kingfisher, didn't they?
Yeah.
So maybe any god can do it. But the fact that the aurora is there while she's making this sword is a really good sign, because then we later know that the sword does channel angel's breath.
Yes.
So Lloreth starts singing his song in under the aurora, and we learn about Omnam Chakrai. We have seen Omnam Chakrai's skull in Belacon's throne room. So we have had a bit of an intro to him before, but he is described as, in the Kingfisher POV chapters, as a megalithic shadow darker than the night itself. So, and it says he drank the light and devoured it. I don't think that Omnam Chakrai is just a dragon. I think he's like a symbol of death, and then he's possibly tied to the gods.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a creation of Zareth or Styx, who I'm obsessed with. But either way, we think Brimstone will be full of dragons. If you look at the map at the beginning of the book, and you look at the Aegean sky part of the map, there are 2 dragons flying around. I mean, Omnam Chakrai was supposed to be the last one. We've talked about this loads of times. I do want to call out here, though, that last episode, or one of the previous episodes, we talked about the fact that Ceres had tattoos, and perhaps that she could control, like the fact that she's got the brimstone tattoo could be a sign that she could control the dragons. Well, Awaken Valaris, one of our listeners, did message me and said that when she was listening to that, she felt like it would go against Ceres's character, and the fact that there's so many instances in this book where she believes that so the sentient Quicksilver, while it is a metal, it has sentience, and she shouldn't be forcing it or bending it to her will. She should be coaxing, like negotiating, and like basically not compelling it to do anything, just because she feels like that is what Ceres was so against, what Fisher was doing to Ceres in compelling her to go through the gate and everything. So I completely agree. And I wondered whether she would have to kind of do some deals with the dragons rather than controlling the dragons. I thought it was just an excellent point, like calling us out on the fact that a major theme in this book as autonomy and agency and not forcing people to do things that they otherwise wouldn't do. I thought was a really interesting point.
Yeah, I guess it'll depend how Cyrus sees the Quicksilver or even the dragons. If I see them like something that you need to give it respect and treat it as an entity, or if I just a tool or like a source to achieve a goal. In this case, like protect the faith, protect all the people from this realm and the human realm as well.
Yeah, but that would be like a morally grey character would do that. So Kingfisher would definitely do that. But Ceres is not morally grey. She is morally like right, isn't she? She just only she only wants to do what is right. So we also learn a little bit about the Aegean Fae. So the Aegean Fae who protected the sacred blessed ore. That's all he says. Do we find out what this sacred ore is? And I appreciate I should have reread the Kingfisher POV chapters. We will deep dive those. But do we know what this is? Was it just silver, perhaps? Were they protecting the silver so that it could be used against these people? And then Bellicon wanted to kind of hoard all the silver so that Malcolm was safe. What were the feeders going for? The feeders wouldn't have been able to touch the silver. Could have been iron. It could have been that they were protecting the iron so that the Fae couldn't get, because they have a big iron gate, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't think we know what the sacred ore was.
I don't remember if it was something specific about this. Maybe it's something that we'll discover in the next books.
Yeah, I am almost certain we will go to the Aegean Sky in the next book, just because of the title of the book. I mean, in the Kingfisher POV chapters, the Gate, part 1 and 2, brimstone is mentioned. It's like Om Shakrai's teeth are dripping with brimstone. Brimstone is just an old word for sulfur, which you can relate to dragons. It feels like we're going to go back there, doesn't it? Because the book is called Brimstone.
Yeah.
It feels like she's leading us to this point. So possibly we'll find out what the sacred ore is in the next book.
Yes. I definitely think that we're going to see dragons in the next book. I don't know how it's going to be this, because obviously they say already that Omnan Shakrai was the last one. The other part, the Lloreth, is talking about this dragon in this song, as the dragon's eye, they are like black or they're dark. Yes. Yeah. So I wonder if every single dragon in this realm are going to have this kind of eyes, or it's just a non-Shakrai, and then maybe that is a hint as well about that he's not a regular dragon. If we see other dragons and they have other kind of color eyes, then maybe, yeah, that was going to be like a really good clue that Omnan Shakrai is not a normal dragon.
The song also makes multiple references to the king, not just Kingfisher. It's not just his name. It's like a prophecy, surely. The king and his 8. So the king, the Fisher King, he's the rightful king, right?
Yeah.
He's the rightful king of Avelia. I think this is just foreshadowing that. And you have Carrion, who's also supposed to be a rightful king. But I come back to the fact that Kingfisher's grandfather lost his land. Like there was two brothers and one separated and became the king of Avelia. I think I've said this before, but I think he married a Dianthus, and the Dianthus bloodline, which I believe she would have been a witch, was ultimately Carrion's ancestry. But I think they're like distant second cousins, like twice removed or whatever. And I think that Kingfisher is the rightful king, and he will ultimately overcome Bellicon and become the king.
Yes.
Why is he called Kingfisher? There's just something, isn't there?
Wonder if for the Fae is exactly the same bird name, or if in Fae it means something completely different. But they call him always like Fisher or Kingfisher, so we don't know his real name yet because that's gonna be a secret that hopefully we will find out later on. Maybe when he's having a conversation with Sarah, like an intimate conversation, and then he might reveal the
It's got to be
name.
something good, hasn't it?
Mhm.
It's got to be something good because if it was just his name and it was a big secret and nobody knew it and it didn't mean something,
Yeah.
then when it's revealed, we'd be like, oh, so that's his name. It's got to be a name that we already know, right?
Yeah. Well, we had to wait because
Shayla, something like that.
yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. That he calls Sarah's Osha as a butterfly. So Kingfisher has to be for some reason as well. He said that Osha is because it's a butterfly that it lives just one day or something like this.
Yeah, it sacrifices itself for the future generations of Osha. So yeah, it feels like that could be his name. It's got to be something that we already know, right? Otherwise, it'll just be weird.
Yeah, maybe we need to investigate if it's something like a legend or something about kingfishers, like the bird, and maybe that's gonna give us a clue about what's going to happen.
There is. There's definitely. We've talked about that before. There's definitely
like a mythical part, but I wonder if there's something else there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it says the king and his 8. I don't actually count 8, so I need to go back and read Gate 1. The Gate Part 1 and Part 2. And we will do that, like I keep saying. But I only count Ren, Danya, Lloreth. Was Lloreth there?
I think
He's
so.
been there. He's singing
a song about it, yeah.
Mirel, who unfortunately didn't make it.
Yeah.
But that's only 4.
Yeah, but the song said that he left the place with the 8 or something like this. Morel, she died then, so...
She didn't leave, yeah.
Oh, what 8 he's talking about? Maybe it's not people, maybe it's something else. Powers?
No, but they were talking about the wall, his wolves.
Like the pack, isn't it? Yeah.
Pack. So unless they're just not around anymore, or are they somewhere else doing something else? Don't know. Because they weren't in the map tent. That was the main point, that they weren't in the map tent. Either before when he first came back, or when in the Blood in Thanks chapter, when they basically accept Cerys into the pack.
Yeah.
They're not around. So there is only Lloreth, Ren, and Danya at that point.
Yeah.
Did they die? Will we meet them? That's the point. I think his pack is bigger than we know.
I mean, we know that Morel died, and basically she's still attached or linked to Nemarel. So I don't know if maybe they don't die, they transform, like energy. So
I don't know
they
if
still
she's
help
attached.
in the pack.
I think they just named it after her. Because it feels like there was history there. Obviously, Mirel is Ren's twin sister.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like there was a bit of first love with Kingfisher.
Yeah, she wants something with him, but for him was just like a sister. I think is the conversation that they have.
I got the vibe that it was just never the right time for them. But
yeah, when they had this conversation after she died, he can talk to her. Is when
I really need to reread that.
Yeah, that's why I remember as well that she said that she will be like in the sword. So the sword is like had power is because of her.
Okay, I should have reread that. Sorry, guys. I can be sacked. Sack me from your podcast. So we hear again that Lloreth is Lloreth of the Broken Spires.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever find out what happened at the Broken Spires, did we? No. I wonder if it has something to do with witches. Because, he seems to hate witches. Like, he says he has met Ishabel, the witch that we meet at the end. Mm-hmm. He's met her before.
Yeah.
And something's happened, but they don't remember it. So I think the Broken Spires might be up in the witches' lands or some kind of relation to the witches.
Yes. It seems that every time when one of them is like a crucial part in a war, they just call him like he is the one from that.
He becomes Lloreth of the Dawn later.
Yeah. So how this changed? Like change for the recent one or just give like the biggest one, the one that was like
maybe you have all of
crucial?
them.
So you have like different titles.
Yeah, but Kingfisher always stops the feeders coming across the dawn. So why isn't he Kingfisher of the Dawn? But Kingfisher of the Adjun Sky or Adjun Gate is much better.
They were like the big ones. That's what I mean.
Yeah. The dawn isn't really big, they're just shouting it. I think the Broken Spires is important and it's related to witches. So I think we might hear more about that later on.
Yeah.
So he finishes the song. It was all very emotional. But Ceres is the only one that remembers it.
Yeah.
He says, I've been meaning to write a song about that, but I never got around to it. And Fisher's like, don't you fucking dare, because that's embarrassing. He was embarrassing himself. So my question here is, why doesn't Fisher also remember the song? Kingfisher is Quicksilver. Quicksilver is Kingfisher. He also hears the conversation between the Quicksilver and Lloreth. And both Ceres and Kingfisher hear the conversation where the sword has chosen Lloreth. The only person that doesn't hear it is Carrion. So I just don't understand why Kingfisher doesn't remember the song.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange because on one hand, it says that Quicksilver, the Kingfisher's body is independent, has nothing to do with the Quicksilver that's outside. But here, it seems that it's all connected because now the song belongs to the Quicksilver. But yeah, like you say, why?
No, maybe you're right. That makes sense. If it's completely separated. So like when Kingfisher went through the pool when he was a child and the Quicksilver decided to bond with him so that they could stay alive, both of them, that possibly suggests that the Quicksilver broke away from the main pool of Quicksilver, the main sentience. So that means it isn't connected, so it can't remember the song. I think that makes more sense now you've said it like that. And then the fact that it can't come out and rejoin the Quicksilver because it's completely disconnected, although it can communicate with it.
Yeah.
Because that would also make sense in the fact that when Solus, Kingfisher's dad's sword, stilled the Quicksilver, Kingfisher was still struggling with it in his head because it was still mobile. It wasn't frozen like the other one. And I wonder if that solves the mystery with the time frame where the Quicksilver should have been still at the moment where Kingfisher says that Bellicon sent him through the Quicksilver. Possibly he could still get through the Quicksilver because he had Quicksilver in him. Doesn't really solve the problem that he couldn't escape the maze. Yeah. Maybe that's why they put him in the maze, because they knew he could still use the Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Have I just figured it out?
I don't know, because so far I was thinking the Quicksilver, when it was all completely shut down, it was solid, and that was the reason that nobody could got there. But it's if Kingfisher has this Quicksilver inside, what does it mean for this? Maybe just a little portal opens just for him, and then he can go through.
Maybe.
Or maybe he is able to create kind of like a little pool as well because the Quicksilver is inside. So I don't know if maybe he can manage as well.
Yeah. The only thing that doesn't really make sense is how he escaped the maze. Why could he not have done that sooner? You know, when he heard Solus calling from, we didn't. He heard Ceres calling through the Quicksilver and he just went. Could he have done that before? Or was it the fact that there wasn't anything calling him on the other side?
Yeah.
I need to think about this because I think there might be something in it.
Yeah, because everything happens when Cyrus opens the Quicksilver, and then for Kingfisher, everything opens as well, and it's when it's disconnection with the other realm.
We need to ask Callie if Kingfisher could pass through the Quicksilver in the time that it was shut down.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Because, the timeline is just, it's weird.
A bit confusing, yeah. And I'm still reluctant to say it's editing errors because often that is an excuse that people give, but actually there's a really good storyline behind it.
So, that is what happens. The Quicksilver asks for a song, get the song. Now the song belongs to the Quicksilver and nobody else. Remember this except Cyrus. For me, this is interesting because this opens a new question here. We know that there's still a lot of stuff that she needs to do with Quicksilver, which means a lot of requests. So I was just wondering what's going to be the worst thing that Quicksilver going to ask her to do. And then maybe she is going to be the only one who's going to remember that and nobody else. So I don't know if it was going to be something like, you need to give me like a memory of a person that you love. Like, I don't know, a memory of, I don't know, choose. Like, you want to forget that maybe Hayden is going to forget that he is your brother. Or
yeah, that would be sad.
Something like that, you know.
I don't know if that would be in Ceres's gift to do that. But yeah, maybe.
Right, because the Quicksilver asking, if you want me to collaborate with you, you have to give me maybe one of your memories or one person that you love.
Like, probably a sacrifice would be the worst thing it could ask for, though, right? Like the death of one of her.
The life of somebody she loves.
Somebody, yeah, that would be the worst thing it could ask for, I think. And only she knows what really happened to them.
Yeah, so she's going to live with that.
Wouldn't be worth it for a relic. You'd just be like, wait till the next, throw that piece of...
Probably it's not going to be for a relic, but for something like crucial to win the battle, like a special sword or something that Quicksilver has to do.
Well, I think while we know that Telena and Ishabel have found a way to get rid of the Quicksilver, his relic is becoming less useful. So it depends what's going to happen first. Is the relic going to fail quicker than they can get the Quicksilver out of him?
So the God Sword now belongs to Lloreth, and he called it Abyssith, and it means the unsung song, which is strange because he doesn't remember singing any song for this, but then he just
listened. Yeah, but he listened to Ceres and she said that was a great song, and he's like, what song? Yeah. So I think he's clever enough to realize that something happened.
Yeah.
But it wasn't unsung, it was actually sung.
Yeah.
Yeah, an angel's breath and the light gets...
Yeah, and Fisher got really excited about it. Fucking angel's breath, brother.
Yeah, that was really weird. I felt like his voice in the audiobook at that point wasn't really very Kingfisher.
It reminded me a little bit of Hulk Hogan, to be honest.
Yeah. And I said earlier...
Angel breath, brother!
And they go WWE on the... Yeah, I said that.
Memoirs of Luzbel. She loved him. She lost him. And he came back. But wasn't completely him. She feared him. She fought him. But she fell for him. Memoirs of Luzbel. Now available on Amazon.
Right, chapter 30.
Swear it.
So Fisher makes Ceres swear she will stay safe when the feeders attack. It's a big turning point. I think it's an important chapter title because he doesn't compel her, but he chooses to trust her in the way that humans normally have to. There's reference at the beginning of the chapter to the runes on Kingfisher's throat pulsing like a heartbeat. When do you think these runes appeared?
I definitely think there's something going on with maybe the feelings or the mood, because according to where he is in the moment, this pattern, they start to shift. So I don't know if that is given a clue about what he's feeling at the moment.
Or different. We know that the runes on Ceres mean different powers. So I wondered if it could be related to his powers. Okay, so she finds out she's going to be spending the night in Fisher's tent. She's not going to be sent back to Carlish, but she's really stinky, so she needs a bath first. It's really intimate, but Kingfisher's really corny here when he's like, you are a thief after all. I mean, we love a bit of romance, but that's quite corny.
Well, he didn't finish it, so that is merit.
Yeah, at least he didn't finish what he was going to say. But obviously, he was referring to the fact that she's stolen his heart.
Yeah.
I can relate to. I've never made a god sword, but I can relate to feeling super, super tired. And I think it was like after child. And just feeling like a bit of a zombie and moving from what you would like move me from one place to another. And it's all a little bit of a dream, that whole situation. And I could like really feel what she was going through. And so she ends up in the bed in some like really cozy pajamas. They're not cozy pajamas, they're like very silky, soft pajamas. And she sleeps. And then when she wakes up, she has a conversation with the Quicksilver. I was waiting for this at this point. Like, as soon as I knew that she could talk to the Quicksilver and do a bit of a bargain with the Quicksilver, then she would be trying to get the Quicksilver out of Kingfisher's body. The Quicksilver whispers to her, so she kind of introduces herself, and the Quicksilver says, "We know who she is." The Quicksilver hissed, "Oh, I'm sorry. We know who she is. She is the dawn. She is the moon. She is the sky. She is oxygen in our lungs." So this is really big for me. This is a mention she is the moon, and that is what Kingfisher talks about.
Yeah.
So has he constantly got the Quicksilver hissing in his head, like she is the sky, she is the... Because I feel like it sounds a bit like his speech, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And says she is the sky, she is the moon, she is oxygen in our lungs. Like, I feel like this is big. I feel like this is the Quicksilver basically saying she's a god.
Yeah, for me, the first impression was that this was kind of like Kingfisher feelings reflecting here. So I don't know if maybe it's because it's given that connection, the Kingfisher and the Quicksilver is the same. So is the Quicksilver like expressing Kingfisher feeling because it's the same for the Quicksilver.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was the other way around. I thought Kingfisher was expressing the Quicksilver's feelings, but I think you're right. That's much nicer.
Yeah, because this reminds me a little bit is when he was talking to Karen, that Douglas Sunshine. Yeah, so it's exactly the same like feeling that how he sees her as everything for him.
Yeah, and the fact that it says she is the oxygen in our lungs, and Ren says Kingfisher would never forgive him if his sole reason for living were to perish on the battlefield. And that comes just later, doesn't it? Well, very soon.
Yes. But it's a really interesting part here as well, because Sauron's trying to take the Quicksilver out of Kingfisher's body, and it says that you are Quicksilver, he's a fake, you two, you are not compatible. And the Quicksilver said that Kingfisher is a weapon, and that's why the Quicksilver is with him. And I find that interesting because we know Kingfisher is Sauron's champion. So I'm wondering if maybe at this point it's not just he is being chosen by Sauron, maybe even like created by Sauron to be his weapon, his tool. And the Quicksilver, what he's doing is enhancing that weapon, that tool.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to channel the power of the gods directly.
Yeah, so in the same,
that's what a sword can do.
In the same way, yes, that a sword is enhanced by the Quicksilver, Kingfisher will have the same at some point.
Yeah, but not if Isabel and Talena have anything to do with it, or Ceres.
Yeah.
So the Quicksilver says, "We gave him life, a boy, just a boy. He was young when he entered our pool. He should not have survived it, but he was strong, and the grand halls of the universe rang aloud with his purpose."
Yeah.
So I think his purpose is to stop the rot in the tree, isn't it? And basically save the universe. That's what it feels like his purpose is. So it seems like Ceres and Kingfisher have been together in many lives in different universes. And each one, the tree rots. Apart from the ones where they stand side by side and they fight together. So this is like what she learns at the end. So she needs to stand by Kingfisher's side and fight with him, and then the tree will be fine. The Quicksilver knows his purpose.
Yeah.
Does he know his purpose? Is it just sacrifice? Is it all the runes? Or like, I feel like his purpose is going to be what happens at the end of the third book, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same.
Said this a few times. Isabel and Telena figure out a way at the end of the book to get it out, even though they say it's not possible. The Quicksilver doesn't know. Kingfisher doesn't know. But Telena and Isabel can work together at the end to get the Quicksilver out of him.
Yes, which is going to be interesting to see if Kingfisher, he will be maybe willing to do that, or maybe he knows that even with all the pain that he's carried with the Quicksilver, he needs the Quicksilver to, I don't know, be stronger or be connected with his gods as well.
Maybe he doesn't want to get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So Ren bursts in. He doesn't realize Ceres is still there, but it doesn't matter because the vampires are attacking.
Mm-hmm.
Ceres has a real breakthrough moment here around and this is what the chapter's titled after, in that she says, "Don't send me home. I want to stay with you. I want to fight." And instead of conjuring a shadow gate to send her home, he gives her his father's sword, Solus. It was a breathtaking weapon, the kind songs are written about. Its pommel was embellished with a crescent moon. And again, like the fact that it says it was a breathtaking weapon, the kind songs are written about. That brings it back to Kingfisher, doesn't it? Because he just had a song written about him. It's clever. Its pommel was embellished with a crescent moon. The horns of the crescent moon so close that they almost touched to form a whole circle. So I know this is a crescent moon and not a full moon, but do you think that there are werewolves in this story? So we have vampires.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Lupoproelia. There are just too many references to the moon, to wolves. The fact that usually where there's vampires, there's also werewolves. Do you think that we're going to get shape-shifting wolves? And you think, like, that is why the Lupoproelia are called the Lupoproelia? Is there a big secret that Kingfisher and his wolves are actually wolves?
I won't be surprised if we see werewolves in this story. As a matter of fact, the first time when I was reading this book and that chapter, the dog, when Kingfisher went to...
Yeah!
I thought he was like a werewolf. And that's the reason that he needs this pendant with hair all the time, because it's the only way to control that. But we don't know if it's only Kingfisher or it's maybe all the clan or the pack, the Lupoproelia. They have maybe a pact. And then when he's not carrying this, then is when he starts to transform.
Yeah, doesn't it? It feels a bit close to the bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know it's not a full moon, but again, it feels like maybe Fisher's dad could have been a shapeshifter.
Yeah. It would be strange if we find out as well there's another curse as well, but instead for vampires, it's going to be for werewolves.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But Fisher's line was still affected by the vampire curse. But what if they were shapeshifters before? What if their ancestors were shapeshifters? And they're just using that as a nod. And then by the time when everything's restored, it would be... I feel like there's got to be wolves. I don't necessarily think it's werewolves where it's like the full moon. I feel like it's probably more to do with shapeshifters.
Yeah, we saw that in these chapters that after celebrating and that kind of stuff, they start like howling like wolves as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
Another reference for werewolves. Yeah,
there's something. So Fisher is convinced that his father is dead. He says his bones rest in Silvarin.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Ceres can touch the sword, I mean, she's an alchemist, I get it. But also later we think it channels some power.
Mm-hmm.
Is that actually confirmation that Fisher's dad is dead? And we're just all barking up the wrong tree with the fact that we think he's still alive? Because would Solus allow another to wield it if it knew that Fisher's dad was alive?
But that's going to be another question for Kalihar about this world. Like, if the sword is linked to a warrior and this warrior dies, does the sword know straight away that warrior is dead? or after not being used for a while, it might think, well, that warrior doesn't
want
care
me
about me
anymore.
anymore, so fuck it, I'll go for another one.
Yeah, I wonder if we could sneakily ask her that question without giving her, like, is Fisher's dad alive? I wonder if we could, like, be sneaky.
Yeah, I think we need to try next time that we can have another time with her.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody dies, the sword knows it.
Just asking for a friend. No reason. Don't think too much into this question.
Yeah.
No, she's way too clever for that. So yeah, it just felt to me that there was something around, maybe she's telling us all along that his dad is actually dead.
Yeah.
And so we need to stop with the Elroy thing. We need to stop with the he's still alive. I just feel like there's no body. I don't believe it.
Well, we're not saying that he is 100% his dad, but we're saying that he has to be a Fae.
Yeah.
All the clues is pointing out to that he's a Fae.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be Fenrir. Henry? No, Finrod.
Finran. Finron.
If it's gonna be Fisher's dad, I don't know.
Yeah. So Ren's parting words. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I think we should say goodbye to each other like this every time we say goodbye, because it's just lovely. He says, if you should find a soul sundered from flesh, order a drink for us at the first tavern you come across in the afterlife. We'll settle the tab when we get there. Yeah. I just love it. It's really cool writing. But they're like, we might die. We might not make it through this, but we will find you and we will pay for the drinks. Yeah. I just really like it as a end. Yeah. So that is chapter 30. Chapter 31.
The Darn.
The Darn. Mm. So the Darn is the name of the river separating Avelia from Sarasroth. The Darn. This whole chapter is centered around the Darn. I quite like this though, because darn is another word for damn. So like, damn it, darn it, darn it to hell, that kind of thing. The whole chapter is around the damned, basically the feeders so I like the name of the river. It links to the fact that it separates the living from the dead, and it's like the river of the damned, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think this is a really cool chapter name, not just for the name of the chapter, but also for the name of the river that separates Sarasroth from Avelia.
Yeah.
So she is up. She is ready to go and fight. She's sprinting and she's managing to keep up with them. Like, she's managing to keep up with Ren and Fisher. Mm-hmm. How is she doing this the day after she made the sword? That bath must have had like magical healing. Or maybe it's because it's day 1. Maybe if it was day 2, it would be the worst. Because like after day 2, after like a day, it's really hard.
Yeah, she doesn't feel it yet.
Yeah.
Just wait for the next day.
Exactly. So there's lots of feeders coming across the river. Mm-hmm. She notices a few of them. She notices a woman in an apron, which looked like a cook from the Winter Palace. It probably was a cook from the Winter Palace, and that's another like hint that Bellicon is linked to Malcolm, possibly feeding him souls.
Oh, the Everlyn is going to be there, because if there's people from the Winter Palace, like the cook, for example, who else is going to be there? So
exactly, ta-da. But then we find out later that Bellicon just gave Evelyn over.
Yeah.
So he's a real shit of a person. Then there's a really awful bit, but a really great bit of writing. Like, this really sums up the hell nature of the whole thing. There is a woman dragging a lifeless doll punctured with hundreds of teeth marks, like it was a pin cushion. Then Ceres realizes it's not a doll. Ugh, it's just really harrowing reading that.
Yeah, I really like it, because obviously if you are trying to write something that is just hell, there's something where...
Always bring a child.
Yeah, you have to bring something that no human and like in the old senses will do.
Yeah.
It has to be like beast, has to be like a demon.
Yeah, you do that in your book.
Yeah, maybe that's what I like.
It's really hard to read, and you said it was really hard to write, but...
Oh, yeah. I can imagine as well, like maybe for her, like bringing to all these stories because as a writer you have to live it to try to express them
Yeah.
in the
I know
books.
it's really
and
hard to
it's
write.
hard,
That particular line was really hard to read, and I know it's not just because I'm a mother. It was just really hard to read that. Right, that it was like made me feel sick. But that's
Yes.
what you want. You want your feeders to feel sick. Readers.
You
want your readers to feel sick.
This is so bad. But also you want something that is real. It's not something
You want them to feel something, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I usually know that a book is really good if I felt something really.
Yeah, because that
big.
makes the book there's something that you can believe that
Yeah.
oh yeah, this could happen.
Yeah, it makes
True.
me feel sick thinking about it, but it's very, very good writing.
Yes. But something that is said here for the first time, I think, when they say they can't use magic in the Sandorrathian soil because it's all dark, there's no light there. I find that interesting because it's like what they've been like draining the ground or something like the light or the ground. And if who is doing this, how it's been done. I think there's some stuff that we don't know yet here, but will be interesting to see like how or who
Yeah.
or why.
We learn a bit more about Malcolm's magic in the next chapter,
Mhm.
and it could be linked to him. He's basically stealing magic from people, from the Fae.
Yeah.
I don't know how that links to the ground, but it is all charred and burned. So Ren and Fisher are super powerful, right? So we see Ren's light smashing into the ice again, Fisher's shadows. Are they just all powerful? I'm not sure if I understand what the balance in this magic system is. Do they get tired? You know, like how in the Empyrean they burn out. In a book I'm reading at the moment, The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. Everyone has a different cost. Like one of the characters gets burns on her hands if she uses magic too much. One of them like gets opaque eyes. So like they all have a different cost. What is the balance in this magic system?
At the moment, I don't think it's like official, but I'm thinking maybe it's gonna be something related to something physical. So like if the warrior it gets tired because it's still like a physical activity, then it won't be able to do it anymore. So it's the same as fighting.
Like you run out and you gotta wait for it to. Yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be something, doesn't there? Because every great magic system in a book like you just can't have few characters that are
They just like
all-powerful.
launching the magic all the time
Yeah.
and then never get tired, never happen like anything.
Yeah.
So you can defeat all of them by itself.
Yeah.
So something that we see here as well is the Solas is awake and they start to like talk to Ceres. Ceres notice that the sword is talking to her, and I'm not sure if it's because maybe she is somehow is related to the previous owner of this sword, and I'm thinking that if maybe she was with Elroy, for example, and then maybe it can feel that connection that maybe for Elroy or Fisher's dad, Sarah was like a daughter or something like that was protecting, then the soul maybe know that connection and that brings
Maybe
the whole
like
thing.
how Danya was able to touch her father's sword, but it just didn't channel God. It wasn't a God sword anymore. I think it's more than that. I think it's more than the fact that she's an alchemist as well, because I think Solus, there's an interesting link as well, isn't there, with the name Solus and what Carrion keeps calling.
Yes, because Solas is really similar to Sol. For example, in Spanish, they mean sun, or in Latin, like soleil, like Cirque Soleil, for example.
French.
So, so that's why I'm thinking there has to be like a relation between
The sunshine
Ceres
and
light.
Solus does appear to be her sword now. The interesting question is whether it still also belongs to Fisher's dad, if he's still alive. But yeah, I think it's more than the fact that she's an alchemist. I do think it's a connection between her and the gods.
Yes. So in this fight scene, we see the every single god sword has a really good superpower. And here in this scene, when Ren is fighting with Ceres, they're completely overwhelmed with all the fighters that are coming. Ren, he is just like nervous and is even constantly telling to Sarah that she need to run, she need to go back to with the others. But Sarah said, no, I promise to Kingfisher that I will stay here and I will stay here. So she's still fighting. And there's a moment when one of these vampires comes to her. And then she starts to see for her, it feels that the vampires move slow. And then she starts to move as well, like advancing the movements of this vampire. She kills the vampire. And then Ren asks to her, what was that? And then when she's about to say something, they get interrupted by Fisher. So I think the Sarah, what she's doing with the sword is that somehow she's maybe slowed down time, or she can manage or how to manipulate the time. Because she said that the vampire is coming and then she goes after him and there's like time moves slow. So I think maybe it's like literally for her it's moving slow and she's taking advantage of this. And that's why Ren was surprised. Well, like, what was that? Maybe for Ren, everything happened just in a blink. But for Sarah, because she's holding Solace, is maybe her superpower.
That's amazing. I love this theory. You said to me that you think this is obvious. Because yesterday I was like, oh, have you got any theories? And you said, well, I don't know if it's a theory or if it's just really obvious. And I had not spotted it at all. I think this is right. I think that Solus is able to slow down time. I completely agree with you. I read it again and I was like, yeah, this is totally a thing.
Yes, because we see that every single sword has like a power from the gods. So slowing time, that has to be like a divine power.
Yeah, and nobody realizes.
Yeah.
And even Ceres isn't really that sure. She's just doing what she needs to do in that moment. I love it.
Yeah.
I think we'll see more of this in Brimstone.
Yes.
Ren drops just a lovely little message to Ceres saying, you keep yourself safe. I alluded to this earlier, but you keep yourself safe because if Fisher's sole reason for living dies in this situation, he is not going to be happy with me. We know that after Ceres made the God Sword, she needed a bath. So he ran the bath, put her in the bath, and then he said he needed to go and speak to Ren.
Mm-hmm.
I think they went to have this conversation and Ren, like, he knew, because we get in the next, in the chapter after next that we'll cover next week, we get Ren showing Danya that he fully believes that Kingfisher and Ceres are meant to be together. Mm-hmm. We get that in the dining room at college, and I love that scene because it just puts Danya in her place. But this is just a bit of a confirmation, I think, that Kingfisher has actually told Ren now.
Yeah.
And he's confided in his BFF. I just love it. I want that conversation. I want to get a Ren or a Kingfisher POV in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be really nice to have that conversation between two mates just talking about
You always
love.
You always get women talking to each other about men. You don't necessarily get men talking to each other about how much, like, one of them's is his only reason to live.
Yes. I think it would be like actually a good thing from Kalihar showing this, like how Kingfisher is open himself to a friend about how important or how special is Sarah for him.
Yeah, because that would be like not done. Also, if Ren is aware of anything that happened or didn't happen between Kingfisher and Morel, it might be maybe Kingfisher seeking Ren's blessing to get over Morel.
Yeah.
Depends, because you don't think that Kingfisher had feelings for her. I think he did, just at it was just never the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he was having this conversation, I don't know, it could have been himself seeking his blessing to get over Ren's sister.
Yeah.
It's quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah. So more vampires arrive, and then Super Lloreth kill them all with the Angel's Breath. And everyone starts to cheer, and everyone starts to celebrate. And then it's here when everyone starts to cook. Yeah. Lloreth of the Dark.
Yeah. Yeah, like we said, they seem to just get a new name every time they do something noble.
Yes.
Then the bombshell, the grenade, Everlane.
Yes. Everland surrounded by hundreds of vampires on the other side of the river.
At least 100 vampires are surrounding her, and she's like, Fisher!
And that's the end of the chapter. And we start with chapter 32.
Taladeus.
Taladeus, 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 Taladeus.
What is that?
Oh, Taladeus. Let's take advantage of me while still here.
Oh.
That is Amadeus.
Oh, Amadeus. Okay. So the chapter title, nothing much to say, apart from it is the name of Malcolm's Lord of the Night, Taladeus, our blonde villain, not a villain. But we, at this very moment in time, we think he's a villain. In fact, when we finish the book, we think he's a villain. We think, oh no, Ceres is enthralled to a nightmare, to a monster, the Lord of the Night. We learn in the new POV chapter, The Maze, that Taladeus is a little softy and he's not actually enemy number 2. I think we are going to learn so much about him in Brimstone. I'm excited. I think he's going to be Ceres' friend.
Yeah.
I am blissfully just forgetting about the fact that they could potentially be enthralled, but we will talk about that.
It's really interesting, this part, because, yes, the first time that we read all of this, we were like, oh no, Taladeus is going to be like the new villain. Yes. And obviously Ceres is linked to him. But then when we saw this new POV of Kingfisher, a lot of people start to like, oh no, now she's going to fall in love with Taladeus. So we start to think that Fisher is not going to be...
I think people thought that before.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of this very chapter, there's an explanation about why Everlane wouldn't necessarily go with them, even if they got over there to try and help her. We can talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
But it's all hell has broken loose when they see Everlane.
I think, obviously, from the first time, it wasn't clear who actually is going to be Taladeus here, because we see the Fisher is furious with her and say, "How you hurt her? How you done anything to her?" And he was like, "Oh, come on, Fisher, you know me. You know that I had no stomach to hurt something that you care about." And we think that he is maybe being like sarcastic, but no, he is actually telling the truth in this point. And it's just something that we didn't see it coming.
Yeah. She knew all along. She didn't just like make that up as she was going along. He does say some bad stuff here, so I don't think their relationship is as... I mean, their relationship's clearly complicated, isn't it? Because he has hurt him, he's had to, but only the bare minimum of what he needed to get Malcolm to not die, basically. Sorry, to not die himself. I think we learn a lot about Taladeus we don't learn a lot about him in this chapter, but we do learn a lot about him later on. We also learn about some of the magic, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, how Fish is ready just to storm over there, but Ren's like, the gate won't open on the other side, don't be stupid. This doesn't bode well for Brimstone, does it? Because we know that Ceres and Fisher will be in Sanasroth at the end of this book, which means, unless there's a big time jump, which there isn't, we can confirm there isn't, they will be at Sanasroth at the beginning of the book of Brimstone. We have confirmation that is where they are at the beginning of Brimstone.
Yeah.
Doesn't bode well for the beginning of Brimstone because Fisher clearly doesn't have any magic. It doesn't work over there. So they'll be pretty vulnerable in that situation. And I think Kingfisher will feel vulnerable to some extent. He'll feel a bit exposed without his magic.
We don't know if the sword will still work in there. So that would be something to maybe for him to, okay, I have not my own magic, but I can relate to my sword.
Yeah. So Fisher is panicking and not thinking. Ren is able to keep some semblance of rationality here in saying, look, just think about this. Even if we get over there, what's going to happen? And also, why is she still alive? They're using her to bait you. So Ren is like very rational in this situation.
Yeah.
I can't work out the relationship between Ren and Lane, and also Lloreth and Lane. There is something going on. Ren and Lane clearly have history. And I don't know if there's history just because, like, Kingfisher and Ren's sister have history. So Ren was like, 2 can play at that game, mate. And then there's, like, we know that Lane has seen his balls, basically. We don't know if it was an accident or if it was on purpose. But Lloreth seems to be in a massive state of panic. Not just in this chapter, but when we get back to Carlish, he is really panicking. So there's clearly something between Lloreth and Lane as well. Like, I don't know what is going on. I can't work it out yet. But I definitely think we'll learn more about these relationships in Brimstone, because we're going to have, there's some dual POV, isn't there? We know that it's about 60% Cerys, 40% Fisher, which means they're going to either be split up or we're just going to have some different POVs. Cerys and Lloreth and Taladeus are going to be at Sanus Roth and Carrion. And then somebody's going to have to go back to Carlish to see how Lane is, Telena, Ishabel. Definitely, and obviously Ren is there. Definitely Kingfisher's going to have to go back because he needs to get this treatment. He needs to continue with the treatment. But I think we're going to see a little bit more of Lane and Ren in that situation and learn a little bit more. I can't remember if Lloreth is at Sanus Roth. He should be, because he was in the maze. Carrion's there.
Yeah.
Taladeus is there and Kingfisher is there, but I don't think we get a mention of Lloreth at the end of Quicksilver, do we?
And no, it's definitely not that. But we don't know if it's just because it's not present in the room or it's just not present at all.
Yeah, has he just been taken back to Carlish? Don't know. So we'll learn more about it, but let's just keep that in mind, because my like ask of you is to watch Lloreth in the next few chapters and see what you think, because I think Lloreth might have stronger feelings for Lane.
Yes, I'm not sure if maybe between Ren and Evelyn is more like a brother-sister relationship, because they are like really close, all of them, and maybe Lloreth is the one that actually has feelings for her. He definitely has feelings for Taladeus, like bad ones.
It doesn't just feel like brother-sister at the beginning of the book, though. It doesn't. When they first see each other, for like the first time in 100 years, there's something there. He bursts in and he doesn't expect to be seeing her. It's awkward. Then they're like, she says something like, it's good to see you. Like haven't seen each other for so long, and then something did happen when they did see each other. There's definitely some, I feel like, not just platonic
something else there.
Yeah, there's something. But I just can't work it out yet. And I know we're supposed to not be able to work it out yet, but there's definitely something there. Okay, so she's wearing a necklace, which is a band of metal with a thin golden chain, which symbolizes the fact that she is now basically Malcolm's property. She will be enthralled to him. It's awful, this. And again, it fits with that theme that we're talking about, like compelling people to do stuff and how that's bad. And I am grateful for Rebecca for pointing that out, because you can see it in every single bit of the story now about how like compelling is bad, even if it's for that person's own good. They still need to have some autonomy in the situation. And yeah, so Taladeus congratulates them on the god sword. He says something like, I'm sure it feels like quite the feather in your cap. And he's like really being sarcastic. I just don't understand what Taladeus is doing here. So he's clearly putting on a show. He does call him friend in this situation. He's obviously being forced by Malcolm to do some of this. But knowing what we know about Taladeus now, what do you think he's doing in this situation? Do you think he's just doing the bare minimum? He's like quiet quitting his role of Lord of the Night.
Well, everything that he does basically is orders that Malcolm gives him. So if he's being here like a bad guy, it's because literally Malcolm said, go there and tell him this, or make him feel this way. And he has to do it because he has no options. That was pretty clear. What caught my attention here is that when Cyrus is describing Dan, they said there's like they're like maybe in water or something like this. She said that Evelyn looked like really pale, and then looked like she
Her
is.
hair is like whipping around it.
Yes, even when there's no water. So I'm not sure if they're actually are physically there, or if it's just like a hallucination, not hallucination, like a projection from somewhere else, and then just showing that they have her. And maybe Malcolm is close, and obviously Taladeus has to show that he is in
Maybe.
Malcolm's side. So I'm not sure if it's clear that they were physically there.
Yeah. So I think that Taladeus might. Yeah, I think I like that Malcolm knows if he breaks the rules, and he will die basically because he's there to do Malcolm's bidding.
Mhm.
But I also think that Taladeus, if you read it in a different way, if you read this knowing that Taladeus is not a bad person, you could take from it that he is showing Kingfisher that Evelyn is still alive. He is giving him a warning about all the bad things that will happen to Evelyn, and they're really bad things. Like, it is awful. That will happen to her if Kingfisher doesn't act. He's giving him like the time scale that is needed. It's like he will meet you at dusk. He's giving him all the information he needs to rescue Evelyn, but he's also like cautioning him about how bad the situation is. So it feels like I wouldn't even be surprised if Taladeus suggested to Malcolm that he takes Evelyn to the banks and gives him the message that this is all going to be bad, because I think Taladeus wanted to do that in a way that would warn Kingfisher just how serious Malcolm is, also warn him about the fact that he wants the alchemist, that he wants Ceres, because I think Taladeus is not just putting on a show here for everybody, for all the feeders and for Malcolm. I think he's genuinely warning Kingfisher that this is about to go bad. And if you read it, like I read the chapter totally differently this time round, having just read the maze chapter, because he's a different character now. Taladeus is a different person. And I feel much better going into Brimstone knowing that Ceres potentially has a friend on her side.
Yes. We know that obviously Taladeo has to follow all the words that Malcolm says to him. And that's why, and the point of view of Kingfisher when he sat up in the maze, when in the end Malcolm was telling to Taladeo just make him bleed. He was doing the bare minimum damage to Kingfisher. They was just with a needle and just make him bleed in the finger. He was following Malcolm rules, but at the same time he was making sure that he was not completely like hurting Fisher. So I think here is doing exactly the same. So he's follow Malcolm orders, but at the same time is giving like a lot of like hints.
I would like to think that it's more than that. I would like to think that it was Taladeus's plan to take her there, and he convinced Malcolm to let him because he wanted to warn him.
Yeah.
And he wanted to say just how far he would go. Yeah. So I think he wanted to deliver the message himself.
Yeah.
So so Ren says she can't come home now. She's enthralled. So this is where we know that Malcolm bit Lane. We can see the marks. If he lets her drink from him, she will become one of his lords, like Taladeus. So there's like an exchange of blood. His magic gets very powerful. So he's stealing Evelyn's magic at this point. If he lets her drink some of his blood, then she will become like a high vampire, like the high fae, I guess. If he doesn't, then she will just become more and more enthralled to him until he drains her, basically, of blood. I don't know if we learn this in this chapter or if it's in the next chapter, but anyway, it's worth talking about. So we know that Taladeus was bitten by Malcolm. Malcolm let Taladeus drink from him. Taladeus is a creep, so I don't know what that involved. Sorry, Malcolm is a creep, so I don't know what that involved. But, ugh. So Taladeus is one of many. lords. This suggests because it just says she becomes one of his like court members, a member of his court.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to meet the other members of Malcolm's court because they are now members of Cerys's court when she becomes the queen of Sanas Roth. But we know that Cerys is bitten by Taladeus by the end to keep her alive, basically. Does this mean she's going to have to drink from somebody? Whether that means she's going to have to drink from Taladeus, which might be what she wants to do because she's enthralled by him, or it might be that she can do the same thing by drinking from Kingfisher. We don't know how it's going to work. But there is a chance that Cerys is a little bit enthralled by Taladeus. I don't believe that she's going to be, because I believe that somehow the blood, the gods bond, and the fact that she's half fae and not just fully vampire is going to help with this.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of theories out there that there's going to be a love triangle with Taladeus.
Yes, obviously the first thing that everyone thinks is that now she is kind of like belongs to him because he was the one who bought her. So we don't know how we're going to play with this. If, yes, there will going to be like a free trial, like what you want to do. Are you going to carry on as a vampire, or you're going to try to find a solution with Carrion because Carrion is dead. So maybe they can find something with his blood, like a cure.
She could just drink from Carrion instead, and that would make Kingfisher incredibly jealous. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
And Carrion will be just laughing his head off.
He probably would suggest it.
Yes.
There's definitely something to be explored here in Brimstone, isn't there? I just don't think. I think because she's queen, I don't think she's going to be enthralled in that kind of way. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So Taladeus also knows Lloreth.
Yeah.
I wonder how. They must have met before.
Yeah. I would like to think that maybe that time when Lloreth was attacked by vampires, maybe Taladeus was with him, and then maybe he chose to be a vampire and Lloreth resist, and then they just trying to like kill him, just draining the blood or something like this. I don't know. There's like a story before he turned into a vampire.
What if Taladeus stopped the vampires from attacking? Because he was almost dead, but he wasn't dead.
Or maybe Taladeus was the vampire that he was just learning how to control the thirds, and then he attacked Lloreth.
Maybe.
Because he said vampire, he doesn't say feeders or...
Could that be why Kingfisher wanted to save his life? Maybe Taladeus was...
asking to him, they saved their life because they didn't want to do it or something.
Yeah, perhaps there was like they grew up together or something. Because we know Bellicon and Malcolm were close.
Yeah.
And Fisher was around Bellicon, and Taladeus was possibly around Malcolm. So maybe there's this like long-standing kinship, not like longer than
not just from the maze, yeah.
And perhaps Taladeus, maybe it was an accident. Maybe Taladeus like lost control of himself or something, attacked Lloreth, and that's why Kingfisher kept him alive.
Yeah.
Because it was all an accident. There's something
It won't
there.
be for Lloreth, it will be for Taladeus that he did it. That will be an interesting theory.
So interesting. Taladeus does like seem really bad here. He says some really bad stuff, but again, like
he's supposed to be the bad guy. So.
We know, and you're supposed to think he is, and it's supposed to be this big revelation when we have the Kingfisher POV. But I wonder also if they had a lot of time to talk in the maze. Kingfisher was possibly talking about his inner circle and his family, his found family, and he learned about Lloreth that way. So there's other ways. But Kingfisher thinks that Malcolm wants him.
Yeah.
Kingfisher says he wants me. But this is where Taladeus is giving him a big old warning. And it's like, he wants you. Like, he always wants you. But actually there's a bigger, more powerful player on the board now, and that is the alchemist.
Yeah.
And Kingfisher is like, well, he can't have her.
It's mine.
Yeah, it's mine. And this like is really showing his weakness.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what he called Ceres right from the beginning, using the word Osha, the nickname. He thinks that she's weak, but actually it's representative of his weakness. She is his weakness. She makes him weak, not the other way around. Yeah. A really good bunch of chapters this week. I really like it. It's just starting to get so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying it's starting to get good. It already got good. But
Yeah, but
ending
it's
of this
like
book
the
is really
pace here is obviously it's fast. And
Yeah,
there's so
yeah.
many things going on at the same time.
Yes. So shall we look at Kingfisher's Mama's sketchbook, Adina's journals, the part of the show where we channel our inner eye as Mummy Kingfisher would and put our oracle skills to the test in the hope that we get at least something right for Brimstone. So what is your favourite theory here?
I have a few, but I think I will stay with Solace can slow down time. That is Solace now big power.
Yeah, that's my favourite too.
What about you?
Yeah, so the one we just talked about with Taladeus possibly asking Kingfisher for help when he attacked a fae on the street, and that was Lloreth. And
yeah.
that is why Kingfisher gave his soul to Lloreth.
Yes, I really like that because it seems that the relationship with Taladeus is deeper. There's not just from the times on the maze.
Yeah, and there's got to be a reason, hasn't there, why Kingfisher would just give his soul to someone on the street. And yes, it could be that it just shows how great a person Kingfisher is and was, and that he's not this arsehole that's like prowling around being mean.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a really caring person. But the fact that Lloreth was possibly attacked by vampires and the link with Taladeus, I love it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I like it too because maybe Fisher is doing it for Taladeus because he's a vampire with a soul, a vampire with a heart. And Kingfisher want to protect that and don't want the Taladeus feel that he killed somebody.
Either way, I think the relationship between Kingfisher and Taladeus goes further back than the maze.
Yes. That would be a good explanation. Really cool one. Yeah.
Sticking with the theme of precognition, let's look at the 4 chapters we're going to cover next week.
So for next week, we have 4 chapters as well. We're going to start with chapter 33, Blood in Thanks, chapter 34, A Secret, chapter 35, Oracle, and chapter 36, Isabel.
Yes. Again, they're quite short chapters, so we can fit 4 in next week.
Yeah.
So, questions from the Quicksilver. This is the part of the show where we listen hard to the ethereal whispers of the Quicksilver and dig deep into our souls for the answer. Last week, we asked, if you were the Quicksilver, what would you ask for?
I think I will just ask for a good steak.
Good steak.
Yes, like the perfect steak in size, texture, and everything.
Food.
Because, yeah, it's really difficult for me to find like a really good one.
Hey, excuse me.
I
I'm
mean-
the person that makes them.
That's no, but you know,
You
like
can go
the
and get your Quicksilver to make you a
juicy
steak. I'll
ones,
make you another
the
one.
big ones, those ones that you see just on TV.
So you're not going to get any more now.
Oops.
I would ask for a good story. I love a story. I love a book. I would ask for the best book.
For the best book.
A story. Just a story. You know how I asked for a song? I would want a story.
Yeah. Like about what? Dragons, fae.
Yeah,
Any.
all of the above. Anything.
A story that has absolutely everything.
You know how, like, do you remember the song, the Tenacious D song? It's like tribute.
Yeah.
It talks about the best song in the world, and the devil stops them in the street. It's like, give us the best song in the world. And they're like, this is not the best song in the world because we can't remember it. This is just a tribute to the best song in the world. And this is just a tribute. You better believe me. Yeah, it's such a good song.
Talk about the feelings about that story, but never
That's what I want.
tell the story.
I want the best story in the world.
Yeah.
Like a 10-star story. That's what I
Wow.
want.
No pressure there.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck finding another wife to cook you steak.
For another wife, but okay.
Okay, so this week, So we know the Fae pass down their powers to their children. What superpowers do you wish you could inherit?
Okay.
Like, we got shadows, illusions,
Yeah.
light. I mean, you're going to have to just be creative with this because we don't know what all the...
Yes. I will think about it. Hopefully it's going to be something that's not going to offend you again.
Should we try? You can try and offend me every week. And that's all we've got time for this week. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Faithfully Fantasy Pod. Come and join the conversation. We would love to hear your thoughts, your theories, anything we got wrong, anything you really like. So if you've got any comments, send them our way. We are also going to be reading out some comments as you saw in the beginning of the show. So don't forget to comment on YouTube or Spotify to feature in our new segment. We will always give you credit on the show.
And with this, we had just one more thing to say. Thanks for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
The husband and wife podcast talking all things Quicksilver.
We'll see you next week for our deep dive of chapters 33 to 36, and of course, for more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye!